to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah.
We have one proclamation on our agenda tonight, and it's the Adoption Awareness Month, and I have here Angie Garner's here.
Set it up, hold it right there.
I'm going to read the proclamation, and then if you could say a few words. Whereas Adoption Awareness Month is celebrated to call attention to the fact that every child deserves to grow up in a loving, nurturing, permanent home, and that this experience lays the foundation for a happy, productive adulthood. And whereas in North Carolina last year, there were approximately 9,825 children living away from their birth parents, adoption was the outcome for approximately 1,074 of these children. And whereas in Buncombe County, there are 291 children in foster care, and adoption is the permanency plan for approximately 90 children who are waiting for a forever family. And whereas during the month of November, Buncombe County Human Services, private adoption agencies, the faith community, and local advocacy groups will participate in a statewide public awareness campaign around adoption. And whereas this collaborative effort will focus greater attention on children who need permanent adoptive families and honor the families who have adopted children. Now therefore, I, Esther Manheimer, Mayor of the City of Asheville, do hereby proclaim November 2015 as Adoption Awareness Month in the City of Asheville and commend all citizens to celebrate adoption, honor adoptive families, and focus attention on the children who are waiting for permanent homes. Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind just... Here, stand.
Okay, like this?
Yeah, just address the...
Oh, thank you very much. So I'm Angela Garner. I'm the Foster Care Program Manager at Buncombe County Health and Human Services. So we really appreciate this proclamation. November is National Adoption Awareness Month. Last year, we finalized over 40 adoptions here in Buncombe County, which was one of our biggest numbers in many years. So we thrilled, and we're back on track to hopefully hit a little higher number to provide our children permanency. We have an adoption expo coming up November 13th, where we're going to have about 8 of our children right now presented there, and hopefully maybe we'll have a chance of finding a forever home there. So we appreciate our foster parents and the community's dedication and work with these children. Yes, it's at Jones Elementary School. It's open to the community, and it's on Saturday, November 14th. Thank you.
Councilmember Chris Pelley could not be with us tonight. He has a family emergency. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the meeting. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. This mic doesn't seem like it's on. Is it on? It's on. I'm not going to worry about it. And the humming noise is our heating system. Maybe only I can hear it, but it's driving me nuts. Okay. On the consent agenda, item E is going to be pulled from the consent agenda and moved to our next meeting, which is on November 10th. That's a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Economic Development Coalition of Asheville, Buncombe County. I asked the EDC if they would come to our next meeting and make a presentation, Maggie, if you'll note that, to tell us about the new 2020 5x5 2020 plan. And so we can learn a little bit more about that before we vote on that topic. The other thing I want to point out is that our next meeting will be our next meeting will be on November 10th, but the meeting following that will not be the week of Thanksgiving. It will be 1 week earlier on November 17th. So we'll be meeting November 10th and then November 17th. And at the meeting on November 17th, we will be considering the adoption of an ordinance concerning utility substation buffering requirements and the homestay requirements. So, and the regular meeting that would have happened on November 24th is canceled. That will be a lengthy meeting, I would imagine. Okay. But tonight, we have our consent agenda up for consideration minus item E. Are there any questions, comments, or a motion?
I have a couple of comments. One, I'm on item C. I'm really glad to see this community clean energy policy framework coming forward. But I would hope I suggest to council and would hope that we will craft some kind of a message to Duke Power restating what we stated in our earlier resolution, which is that we've been urging them to get off of fossil fuels, and that the planned expansion of the Lake Julian plant and conversion to gas is not getting us away from fossil fuels. It's increasing the energy generation here, and a lot of people in the community are opposed to that, and a lot of other cities have passed resolutions against that, and I hope we can join them in that in the future. And the other thing I'd like to mention in regard to the consent agenda while I'm talking is on item J, talking about the schedule for the November 17th meeting. I want to express my extreme disappointment that we didn't manage to get the homestay discussion in before the election, because a lot of people in this city are concerned about that. It is a significant election issue that the candidates are discussing. And while a month ago or so we talked about loosening the rules on homestays, it has come to my attention that the PED decision was to tighten restrictions on homestays, and I think it's rather unfair to our citizens to have given them such a mixed message without resolution. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could, being present at the PED meeting and chairing that, I don't see how it could be interpreted that we're moving toward tightening those rules.
Okay, good. The minutes aren't up yet, though.
It has deliberated the homestay issue for a pretty lengthy period of time, and I think we all voted to move it to the November 24th meeting so that we could make sure there weren't any missing parts to the revision of our current homestay ordinance. But this way, it'll move it up at least a week earlier than when it was supposed to.
Well, I hope the minutes of PED will be released soon, because from what I've heard from people who were there and reading the recommendations of staff, at least one thing, which was reducing the number of rooms, was part of that discussion. Anyway, I'd like to see the minutes at least released as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, do I have any other questions, comments, or a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there anyone wishing to comment on any item on the consent agenda? Yes, please come forward. You have 3 minutes. Watch the lights on the lectern and state your name.
Great, thanks. Hey folks, I am Kelly Martin with the Sierra Club, and I wanted to just speak to the clean energy framework that's on the consent agenda tonight and say thank you to those of you that have supported the development of the framework. The Sierra Club has been happy to, and our members and supporters and staff have been happy to be part of the development of that over the past 2 years since council passed the resolution that Councilman Bothwell spoke about. And I wanted to highlight just a couple of places that we hope that you'll continue to watchdog and give staff the support and resources they need to move forward. And so a lot of those are coming up for next year. So one in particular is to pursue opportunities for renewable energy installations on city facilities, specifically solar. The other is action item 18 around developing recommendations for incentives and our innovation district energy incentives that would help our communities, buildings and businesses to be able to access renewable energy and energy efficiency as well. And also the Better Buildings Challenge, which is a program that helps businesses to use less energy and use energy more efficiently, which can reduce the need for electricity coming from polluting power plants. And finally, I would just say that You know, the Sierra Club has been really vocal, as you all know, about the modernization plan, and would encourage the council to reiterate your support for clean energy and renewable energy development here in the area as needed to meet our sustainability goals. So with that, I just say thanks in advance for your consideration and support for the clean energy framework. We've been happy to be part of that process and the task force for the past couple of years, and hope that community engagement from our supporters will be continued and welcomed in the future. So thank you.
Thanks, Kelly, and thanks for the Sierra Club for being there and helping to guide this process and being a really integral part of making this happen tonight.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak on the consent agenda motion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We have adopted the consent agenda. The next item is we have one presentation, and that is under our Sister Cities update. And I have, oh, there's Karen. All right. Hello. Oh, good. We have a visual aid.
Thank you, Mayor Mannheimer and council members. Oh, this is on automatic. Sorry. Is this timed? Do you know, Maggie? Okay. Oh, yep, it is. Sorry.
Oh.
Hold on a second. Okay, we'll see if that's right now. So thank you, Mayor Mannheimer and council members, for welcoming us today. Gracias a recibirnos. Also with us today is Andrew Craig, who is the president of Asheville Sister Cities. Let me see. Yep, there we go. Asheville Sister Cities has had an amazing year. You may notice our signs at the entry points to the city listing our 6 sister cities. We're a volunteer organization, and each January welcome our membership to hear our goals and projects for the year. You'll all get invitations very soon. In January, several members of our board worked on an initiative to bring more funds into the organization to support student scholarships. Several $1,000s have been raised to date, which will help build our student initiatives, exchanges, and business internships. We were so excited when the United Nations recognized Sister Cities International for its Sino-African initiative for collaboration on economic development and urban poverty issues in Africa, and our Oshogbo, Nigeria committee led the way. We were written up in Our State magazine. Did you see the article? It was great. The Samur France committee has begun a children's art project. Asheville, England, Germany, and Italy are to send photos and drawings of Clement Aplati, a little boy who, because he is flat, can travel around the world in an envelope. Think Flat Stanley. In the spring, Sister Cities hosted free Spanish classes taught by Gabriela Aragones. That's her in the middle. Isn't she cute and wonderful and a great Spanish teacher? Also in the spring, the Mexican Committee hosted an Ocho de Mayo event with music, great Mexican food, and folk dancing demonstrations. In May, 2 college students interned in Valladolid, Mexico, one from UNCA and one from AB Tech's new distillation program. Sister Cities provided scholarships. In June, a delegation traveled to Valladolid, Mexico, with 4 teachers from Jones Elementary School and a heavy focus on education. We actually visited 7 schools while we were down there, and we have pen pal projects in the works between our schools here and their schools. Very exciting. Sister Cities also provided scholarships for the teachers to go on that delegation. School supplies were gathered, a new laptop presented, and we also met the new mayor and presented a letter of congratulation from Mayor Mannheimer. One UNCA student's thoughts on her time in Valladolid as an intern. Words cannot describe how excited I am for this opportunity, one that would never have materialized without Asheville Sister Cities. She is returning to Valladolid to teach there for a year. In July, the Saumur France Committee hosted their annual Bastille Day event at Metro Wines with food, silent auction, and over 100 attendees. And yes, we did storm the Bastille. In August, a delegation went to San Cristobal de las Casas. Their group of 11 was made up of local Asheville professionals from public health, architecture, public service, local government, K-12, and higher education. Sister Cities once again provided scholarships. A moving visit to the local orphanage and supplies for the Midwife Center left everyone changed. 10 cases of toothpaste and toothbrushes were donated by a local dentist, and you can see here one of the happy recipients. Isn't he darling? Also in August, Sister City welcomed 2 exchange students from Mexico who are now studying at Asheville High and staying with host families, and they're having a fabulous time, I might add. In September, we hosted a membership picnic at La Fontaine Vineyards. Wow! Music, food, and views. We had a great time. Our members really enjoyed it. October 2nd, 16th, and 24th, we hosted a Memories of Mexico photo exhibit by the 2 Mexican committees and shared a rich cultural heritage and moments in time on the streets of these enchanting cities. This was a fundraiser for scholarships. Can you say, Opa? We participated with the Greek Festival and had a booth to build awareness of our Greek sister city in Karpenisi. Sister Cities works because of municipal involvement and support. In October 2014, Mayor Esther Mannheimer and Presidente Roger Alcocer, the mayor of Valladolid, reaffirmed our Sister City partnership here in Asheville. We had an amazing delegation. It was a great time, and really appreciated the support of you all who were able to attend. 2016 will be an amazing year. This is what Sister Cities is all about. New friendships will be made, new connections and project ideas bounced around, new plans for the future shared, new hopes and dreams communicated, new opportunities presented, and we know without a doubt that we are helping to change the world. Partnerships, projects, and economic development, all of those come into play with Sister Cities. We partner with local schools, colleges, organizations, and businesses through community collaborations all year long. Our office downtown on Page Avenue is used several times a week for classes, programs, presentations, exhibits, and member events. Sister City's downtown location helps bring visibility to the international reach of the city of Asheville. Asheville Sister Cities is thriving, and thanks to your support, we can continue our important work here at home and around the world. So we just want you to know how much we appreciate your support. We thank you for your leadership and ongoing commitment to the international reach of Asheville Sister Cities, to our programs and projects, and all that we're able to do because of your support. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, well then you can look for those invitations to our annual meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our presentations and reports. And we do not have any public hearings on our agenda tonight. We have one item of unfinished business, and that concerns appointing the new Planning and Zoning Commission members, and I'm going to turn it over to the Vice Mayor to handle that portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 openings on our Planning and Zoning Commission. Joe Minicozy and Holly Schreiner are both leaving the commission. We thank them for their service. Planning and zoning is a pretty rigorous endeavor, maybe the most time-consuming of all the boards and commissions we have. So tonight culminates a process going back a couple months where we took applications, narrowed the field down, And finally, today, interviewed 3 candidates, Tom Muncy, Guillermo Rodriguez, and Tony Hauser were the finalists that we interviewed earlier today. And so we will vote on those now, and the process we'll use, I'll start over on this side with Councilman Smith, and if each council member will indicate their 2 preferences for the 2 slots, we'll go across, see where we are, and count the votes.
Before I do this, I do want to thank Ms. Schreiner and Mr. Minicozy. They both brought really exceptional devotion to the committee, and for Mr. Minicozy to bring so much kind of forward thinking to that, and I hope that we can continue to collaborate with him going forward. And the applicants that we saw tonight, all of them are qualified, and it's wonderful that they're willing to serve. My 2 preferences were Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Hauser.
Muncy and Hauser.
Rodriguez and Hauser.
Rodriguez and Hauser.
Rodriguez and Hauser.
Rodriguez and Hauser.
So, seems that Rodriguez and Hauser have it. And they are hereby appointed to Planning and Zoning Commission. And that wraps that one up. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, we were hoping to break our record, which I think is 19 minutes, but it's probably not going to happen tonight. This is the public comment portion of our meeting, and I see Jerry Sternberg is there, and you're the one person I have signed up to speak, so you will go first, Mr. Sternberg, and then if anybody else would like to speak, that's possible too. You didn't have to sign up. And if you'll have 3 minutes, and if you could state your name, that would be.
I asked for 10 minutes, and I'll ask 3 people here to stand up and give you your hand up.
Okay, so you're yielding your time. All right. Thank you.
I know this is going to get us out for cocktail hour just a little
Yeah.
later.
I'm waiting for your PowerPoint presentation. Let's see it.
What? What'd you
Jerry
say?
is,
I'm waiting for your PowerPoint presentation.
Jerry is the
I
power.
don't,
Jerry is the PowerPoint
I
presentation.
don't know how to do that. So, I don't even have enough real estate up here, I don't think. Mayor and members of council, my name is Jerry Sternberg. I'm the unelected, unpaid president for life of the River Rats. River Rats are a loosely associated group of businessmen and river property owners who's really dedicated to preserving our property rights and our business operations. We are extremely alarmed at the presentation of the draft of a new form-based zoning ordinance proposed by the Planning Department of the City of Asheville for the so-called RAD District. The plan proposes to change the zoning in the river corridor from Amboy Road to Hill Street and currently covers properties on both sides of the Norfolk and Southern Railway, including Riverside Drive, Depot, Klingman, and Robert Street. I don't know how this works. Is that where I put this, ma'am?
Yep. Maggie will get it up.
Am I doing it right?
There we go. You might want to turn it sideways.
Can you make it a little bigger? Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough.
Yes.
We maintain that the area under consideration contains 2 different business and development cultures. On this side, you'll see that that's Depot and Klingman and that area. They are east of the railroad track, and we'll call this the River Arch District. West of the track is an area we will call the Mixed Use District, the River Zone, and that'll be in this area right here. Our purpose here tonight is to respectfully request that our purpose here tonight is respectfully request that the portion of this zoning plan west of the Norfolk and Southern Railroad tracks that rezones the River District be removed from the proposal. The current River District zoning allows any use except Lulus. A Lulu is a large, undesirable land use, such as a chemical or an asphalt plant. It is different from the River Arts District or any other district in the city because of the proximity to and the unpredictability of the French Broad and the Swananoa River. 20 years ago, the river rats fought shoulder to shoulder with river links to overcome the very restrictive zoning ordinance that was proposed for the River District under the UDO. Had that zoning prevailed, even the new Belgium plant would not have been able to be built. With the cooperation between Riverlinks and the property owners of the River District, we have gone through a miraculous transformation with parks, greenways, retail, residential, artist studios, restaurants, bars, recycling facilities, heavy industry, and all of us prosperously coexist. Our hired guns, the contract planners from a land far away, focused on artists, retail, housing, and entertainment. They must have a crystal ball that tells them what a property owner or an investor is going to want to do or build on a certain lot in the future. They failed to take into consideration that Asheville has very little land available for manufacturing, especially with rail siding. And also, this area is the center of our recycling infrastructure. And as you remember, just a few months ago, you guys were agonizing over that piece of land behind the blind workshop as to whether to rezone that into manufacturing or rezone into residential because of the scarcity of manufacturing land. The new ordinance allows for something called river manufacturing that we don't understand. And then there's a light manufacturing, but it prohibits heavy manufacturing. So if Caterpillar or a big steel fabricating plant wanted to come down on the river where they have rail siding, would they be prohibited? The ordinance expressly states that a recycling plant is a non-permitted use. On the other hand, a recycling operation would be permitted. This prompts the question, are there good recyclers and bad recyclers? This ordinance is a poster child for subjective interpretation and enforcement. They will tell us on the river that all the conforming uses will be grandfathered. We shouldn't worry. Well, those of us who do business in Asheville know that if your business is flooded out or destroyed by fire, or if you choose to expand or sell to another party, the planning department's definition of grandfather is a man whose child has a child. The River District has been particularly welcoming to the artist industry. We view the artist as a very important economic driver. Asheville goes and is commended for its extraordinary efforts to recycle our waste, keeping as much material as possible out of the landfill. I ask you, are the artists going to pick up and process waste paper, scrap iron, metal, grind the mulch, sort the contents of the blue boxes, and salvage the aluminum cans and plastic bottles? I don't think so. I've had conversations with some of the artists in the business committee of the artists leadership. Even they are looking at this proposal with a jaundiced eye. The one thing that the River District and the Artist District have in common is they're both kind of funky, and artists thrive on funk. If you turn Riverside Drive into Fifth Avenue, the area will lose its character and the gentrification will drive the artist out. Now then we say, well, why not move all these objectionable recycling and manufacturing facilities off the river? Where could we put them? How about Beaver Lake? Or maybe West Asheville? They already have a form code over there enacted. Let's forget moving them to the county. If you've noticed in the papers in the last 6 months, they ran 2 proposals for recycling out of the county on a rail. The so-called expert planners from Texas have a very limited knowledge of our river. I know there is a big push to put housing and tourist-oriented businesses on the river, and we river folks have no problem with that. We do object to legislative efforts to expel or restrict our operations. We have no issue with higher density for housing or increased height limitations. Let's just simply amend the river ordinance rather than throwing the baby out in the river. I would advise that we long-term river rats know and understand the risks and have the coping skills to survive the periodic disasters that afflict the river basin. I remind you that 99 years ago, I wasn't here for that, in 1916, the French Broad River was a half-mile wide. They were rescuing workers from the cotton mill out of the second floor with a boat. There's an old Yiddish expression. It says, Menschen tracht und Gott lacht, which means men try and God laughs. Members of council, our river ordinance ain't broke. So don't fix it. Let the river district continue its glorious development organically and not by fiat. Please remove the changes to the river zoning from consideration. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
Thank you. Okay, that was the only person that had signed up to speak, but if anyone else
I have
would...
these for this
You hand
lady
them to
right
Maggie.
here. That's a copy of the resolution.
Yes.
Anybody got a question? I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who hasn't yielded their time that would like to speak? Raise your hand. Some way. No one else? Okay, we have a closed session motion.
I move that the Asheville City Council go into closed session for the following reasons. 1, to prevent disclosure of information that is privileged and confidential pursuant to the laws of North Carolina or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statute. The law states the information privileged and confidential is North Carolina General Statute 143-318.10A3. The statutory authorization is contained in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1. 2, to consult with an attorney employed by the city about matters with respect to which the attorney-client privilege between the city and its attorney must be preserved, including but not limited to a lawsuit involving the following parties: State of North Carolina and the City of Asheville. The statutory authorization is contained in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3. And 3, to establish or to instruct the city staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the city in negotiating the terms of a contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease. The statutory authorization is contained in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A5.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will adjourn from the closed session. So what did Jan say? That it is?